Please. Thank you very much. Security. Some hope, but we dare not despair. Recovering the narrative. I begin by pleading guilty to an obsessive problem. It's called media language. As one who is routinely traumatized by encountering his own words reworked into imagined equivalents, duly enhanced and augmented, even with the best and honest intentions, but which actually end up reading the opposite of intent, that obsession with media language is quite understandable. Fortunately, the preliminary we're engaged in now is not personalized, so I shall proceed. As gentle as I can and through examples from the press itself on what is reported and how, to induct you into how the national psyche can actually be programmed, rewired, so to speak, into absorbing the freakish, the grotesque into its digestive system, so that it becomes assimilated as the norm. The process is mostly imperceptible, but the results are manifested in conduct, values, relationships, in both the private and the public domain. Language is part of the enabling factors of such social disfigurement. That is obvious, since language is the basic currency of social exchange. The print media has a very special responsibility in this respect. As the communication field blows wide open, instantly and promiscuously accessible, it becomes a very huge responsibility. That new field is patronized by the knowledgeable and the vacuous, the purpose-oriented and the dilettante, the nihilist as well as the builder. By contrast to the general field, a technological one, known as the social media, the print remains the product of a long tradition of discipline and commitment, no matter how suspect and sometimes unpalatable or disagreeable its choices in political partisanship might be. The real veterans of the species often become famous for what is known as a house style. Each consciously aspires to credibility among its peers, respect, and even among its competitors. When it slips up, the print media at least makes effort to clean up its act, or else confront retribution. In sum, each member of that estate strives not to lower the sensibilities of the humanity it claims to serve. This is where the issue of language comes in. The secret sign of progress is when one finds that the frequency of certain reprehensible expressions has diminished and eventually even vanishes altogether. Retrogression is when certain replacements are introduced through imitation and they attain a currency through sometimes just ignorance of the effect and sometimes even a craving to be part of the crowd. These days, for instance, it is unlikely that you will find an account of a motor accident which reports that many passengers were roasted alive or roasted to death. Yet, up to a few years ago, the print media was almost competitively awash with it. It was almost as if journalists were in the hunt for nothing else, I beg your pardon, but these fiery road shows, just so that they could splash the supposed barbecue party across their pages. And so it was quite a shock for me to encounter, just a few days ago, yet another innovation along that perverse valuation of human life. Perhaps it was just an isolated slip in standards, but it struck me as a reflection of the state of the collective conscious of a fast unraveling station, a condition that provoked my recent novel, Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth. Hopefully, some of you have come across it. It quite rightly earned comments such as a lavish exercise in the vein of gallows humor. However, that work belongs to the realm of fiction, not daily reportage. It was perhaps unfortunate that this was one of those occasions that I chose to browse through the newspapers after a stretch of absence, just to acclimatize myself with a whiff of environmental fragrance. And, well, what did I hope to expect? Morbidity as a staple diet. Now, one has become accustomed to that. It's a reality in our society. However, there was one headline that instantly leapt out. Yet another one of those mystery deaths. The casualty, a young female graduate on her way to Europe. Without any conscious effort, my mind flew instantly to certain precedents. First, to that student victim of the fanatic lynch mob in Sokoto, Deborah Samuel. Next, further back, to yet another student, Cynthia, who was lured into a hotel on Victoria Island and was drugged, robbed, raped, and strangled. Her killers were also youths, mostly around her own age. I paused, took a deep breath, then proceeded to immerse myself in details. It turned out that this was not a Deborah scenario, and it vastly differed from the Cynthia exercise in murder via virtual encounters. This was related neither to the lucrative ritual killings and trafficking in human parts, as celebrated in that earlier novel, that work, Chronicles from the Land of the Happiest People on Earth. When the word restructuring is bruited around, we often hear the challenge, hey, what do you mean by restructuring? Well, I don't even like the word restructuring. I prefer the expressions like reconfiguration, decentralization. Everybody can grasp that. Decentralization. And those who lead us, they recognize the necessity of it. They recognize the importance, almost the inevitability of it, until they get in power. Yes, that's the difference. Until they get in power. Deconstruction, reconfiguration, decentralization, all this is necessary in order to maximize development. We speak about food hunger because it is real, but palliatives are temporary stopgap policies. They do not reach to the heart of the problem, which is one of decentralized development as massively as possible. I've attended food conferences, workshops really, all over the world, from Makerere to India, even to Paris, to Sochi, at least conferences in which the whole issue, and Munich, the issue of food security has been addressed. And we've found the common, the consensus is that collectivization is an obsolete word, especially when it comes to food production and access to food. So reconstruction, decentralization is not a slogan. And it is time that we stop the pretend decentralization conferences, which have been proved to be mere distractions, especially by those who have a different agenda in mind, such as third term agenda. It does not mean that nothing of value has come out of some of the conferences we've had in the past. No. So the tomes are there. People have worked at proposals in spite of even knowing that they've been brought together for a charade. I can tell you about even my own Oba, one of our Obas there, close to me in Ogun State. He came to me and said, it's going to happen, and we've nominated you to go and represent us. I said, where? He's going nowhere. He came back later, I said, you were right. I said, proper wayo. He said, they wasted our time. He said, they fed us well, they gave us allowances. He said, but it was all a waste of time. It's about time, I think, that this nation, that leaders stop taking this nation for a ride. We must decentralize. Security, has become a bugbear. From all corners of the nation, that is the cry. Decentralize, simply so that government can come closer to the people and productivity can really be manifested as a product of citizens, not simply as a manna from heaven. That is the attitude that obtains at the moment. Yes, I know that the fear is one of collapse, breakup. That has been the excuse being given by several regimes. But suppose the nation is breaking up informally. In other words, as a fact, rather than as theory. Then hadn't you better just address this, come straight on and see exactly what happens? What is wrong with genuine representatives sitting down and saying, this should be the protocols of association. Anything outside of it, anyone who does not want to accept these protocols, abide by these protocols, and manifest these protocols in the act, should take a walk. I have no problem at all with even what is known as a nation, beginning as a vast football field and ending up as a ping-pong table. If that is going to restore dignity to citizens, if that is going to guarantee 3 square meals a day, then so be it. One of my favorite expressions, which people say is extreme, is, let nations die, that humanity may live. It's something. Finally, because I know some people will be very disappointed if I do not at least touch on this subject, I wish to add just a little postscript. And it goes in the form of the transmission to you of an exchange. You see, we have a problem. We began with the issue of language, and it's a serious one, because you can actually transform humanity if language is used in the right, humanized way. And also, for us even to get to the stage of using language as humanized, we have to ensure the free flow of information, of communication, which is the reason why some of us have taken the trouble to gather here today in a mood of celebration. So, the postscript. I said earlier that free speech is constantly under threat, and sometimes we're looking in the wrong way. We wake up only when atrocities on the level of the murder of a champion of democracy, a champion of free speech, a critic of authoritarianism is murdered in a cell. It takes our mind also to similar events here, MKO Abiola, Yaradua, whose deaths are supposed to be mysterious, but we all know what happened. And so Putin can talk from here to eternity and make all this, oh, he's finally handed over the body, thank goodness, for small mercies. But sometimes civil society is its own worst enemy when it comes to freedom of speech. You say something unpalatable here, and the next moment you hear that your ancient grandmother's house in your village has been burnt down. Well, that is censorship in a terminal form. And so let me just recite this little exchange. It's between two people. Let's call one a handler, the other troll. Handler, your online performance was pathetic. We expected better from you. We expect better from you this time round. Troll, sir, I did my best. Handler, which kind best? Your orders were to get online and scatter him to the four winds. Troll, with all due respect, sir, easier said than done. I did not understand what the man was saying. Handler, did anyone ask you to understand anything? We said, whenever he opens his mouth, don't care about the subject, just jump down his throat. End of dialogue. Now, a friendly message. Be very careful. The apt expression, slightly adapted, goes, think before you leap, especially down the time-weathered throats that you encounter. You may end up being swallowed intact without any condiments, then expelled through the rear end of the human anatomy. End of message. Thank you very much.